Hello everybody, this is Simon with Let's Play Sonic Unleashed. Bet you didn't expect 45 minutes of video after my return from hiatus. I could have cut this up into smaller ones, but honestly I don't really see the point. This was made from a single session lasting over an hour, something I usually don't do when playing games, but you know what? I had to force myself to stop at the end. This game is fun. And doing this, going all over the world, checking to see if there is a new side quest to do, if people have moved around, if stories evolve, is for me one of the main draws. So in a way this is the truest way to show off Sonic Unleashed and what I strongly recommend anybody playing it to do. After a high octane session of rooftop running and boss fighting, just relax a little and do some smaller tasks like this one here, for which you have to constantly go into day and night again to basically reload the area and force the NPC to progress. And don't worry, there is plenty of octane left in this video. If you really want only that, I recommend using timestamps to skip to the side quests and see which ones have daytime gameplay. They are surprisingly involved, as we'll see. Not that the nighttime is completely trivial, as you can see here. The animation of grabbing this guy pushed him into the NPC, which automatically failed the mission. This one is a bit annoying, honestly, because as we have seen before, you can easily push the enemies into him and they are actively going for him, like this guy here, backstabbing into Giorgos, and that's it for the attempt. And also what is annoying, they already start moving while the camera is panning out. Not that this is particularly difficult, I was just being a little bit stupid about it. I was trying to like, oh yeah, do a super cool wrestling move, kill all 5 of them at once, but it just hit them, it's fine, don't be fancy. I'm still using a wrestling move to finish off this guy so that he doesn't block all the time, but that's all I needed to do, and that's fine, and we have finished our first side quest of this long string of them. So I have a bunch of experience now, so I could level up the strength, but obviously we are fine. There's enemies were dying really quickly, so I'm investing a little bit more into combat, getting the missile punch, and I'm spreading it out for some more extra life, which is now also at a very nice buffer. Unleash, we have already started by accident, so getting this a little bit. I still don't use shields very much, so that's fine. Getting the Ver Tornado, another move, and then I'm banking a few for later on. Just basically this is explaining what I generally tend to do as my general strategy for leveling up. So, are we done convincing Gregorios? I'm sorry for getting your name wrong. No, he's actually still haunted by stuff, so we're going to go back to the day. Ask him, yeah, there's still dark spirits. What is he doing? Coming back tonight? I don't particularly know if this is really necessary to talk to him in the day, but you do have to reload the area. You can also go to the world map, presumably, and go back again. But this is quicker, honestly, because as you can see, the loading time is really short on PC, so that's very nice. So we are now getting his book, which is a mission where we have to collect one thing and have 5 minutes to do that. I am just pro forma checking here if there is something here, because I mean, after all, this is the same kind of level, just a little bit more difficult with all of these spikes here, but no. And in general, the theme for these side quests, as we have seen a few times now, is basically that these are small sections of a level we have seen already, but with some added challenge here, and then some unique challenges in general, like here for example, this combat encounter with the 2 walls is completely new. And I feel like stuff like the previous corridor with the saw blades is basically what previous Sonic games would have done as a hard mode, but this is just cut out a little bit. I'm going to go back to this point. For now, I'm actually looking for the new skills we obtained, but I don't find them. As you can see, like I'm frantically looking through the menu. The thing is, what I found out afterwards, these skills that I just got are actually added to the bottom of the menu for whatever reason. I presume that at some point they changed the order of the skills around, in which order you would get them, and didn't update the order in the menu. So what I would have to do is just basically scroll down to the bottom of the other menus. I only scrolled to the one where I didn't get one, so that's fun. And this is why I'm not actually using the new skills in this video. It's not a big deal. There aren't that many opportunities because most of this video is actually daytime gameplay. But yeah, what I actually did get was charge up punches. And as I said, we will see those later. For now, I'll have to actually get rid of the second wall before, you know, the time limit runs out, which is incredibly generous in this stage. And for that, we actually have to kill all of these small robots, and there is one hiding here, so get out of here. Anyway, the point that I was getting at with the basically hard mode video changes, you have maybe seen my Sonic 06 videos, you have maybe played some Sonic games yourself, where the hard modes in those games are not actually very good. Like, I don't think there has been a good hard mode in a Sonic game so far, because most of the time a hard mode is just the same level, maybe without checkpoints or something, but usually not. And there is one section where they show some creativity, like there is like one good hard mode level in Shadow that I remember, where they just remove the floor, which is like bold, and that's definitely more difficult. And 99% is just like there are 2 more enemies in this section, which you don't even notice because just blast by because it's a Sonic game. And maybe the hard mode is even easier to get an S rank in because there is more enemies now and they are not actually difficult. That's happened a lot in 06, and it's like it just doesn't really work. However, here, what we see is basically small segments of the level that are spruced up, and these are the segments that they had ideas for, compared to having to hard modify an entire level. And I think this is a very, very clever approach for the series, and something that I don't see we see that often, but we do see that as well in the missions for Sonic Generations. So this is definitely, in my opinion, a winning formula. And then we have, for example, Forces, which is just basically an entire game just made out of snippets, which aren't hard, but you know, anyway. We are now going further on to Mazuri and doing a few more side quest cleanup here. We had to hand over this, don't forget that. And now Yaya is actually happy with us, and we have done something good for once in our life. And anything else? Yeah, we have someone who is disappointed here and sad, and Anna does actually want to do something for her prince, but she's not actually going to do that herself. We have to again wait until day. What is this? Elden Ring, reloading the area? Because I think the idea behind all of this is that you just keep going from country to country to country, see what is happening, try and get some more of these stories going as you travel around the world. But as I'm showing off here, you can just reload stuff and just get the story to progress like this relatively easily. By the way, I'm not looking any of this up myself. I'm just going along with the flow and seeing what's happening, and mostly it works out. At the point where nothing is changing anymore, where people are generally satisfied for now, I just stop reloading, don't talk to them anymore, and you're not seeing these attempts. But this is basically blind. I am just experiencing these side quests, sometimes for the second time, but some of them, like the whole Gregorios chain, I have done for the first time in my life, because I just didn't 100% this game when I last played it. This one here I definitely did the first time. I do remember getting stuff for Gigi here, but again, I am mostly just running around talking to people. If there is something interesting happening, you're seeing it. If something is not interesting, I'm basically cutting it out. Some of the stuff that I'm showing off is NPC dialogue, like here for example, Lucas has in fact now moved to Spagonia, and he's talking about work and nothing else. So for now, I don't know if he has a side quest or will have a side quest at some point. It's possible that I'm missing something, but I'm not going to a guide and looking for it, because as I said, trying to prepare for everything here would just take so much time, and it's not very organic in my opinion. But this is basically how I would play and how I would recommend playing Unleashed. You can't miss any of the side quests, I don't think, so you only can miss NPC fluff dialogue, so that's very nice. I'm also trying to see if I can do something about this and Dora's shyness, but in fact, not right now. We are going to see later on. I'm going to go into night, ask her there, maybe something happens there, but no, not really. Either I am doing something wrong, have to ask somebody else, or I will have to do this after the next story trigger has progressed, which is, by the way, what caused all of these side quests to update. Because if you remember, I have been to a bunch of side stuff before in all of these countries before, but this time obviously there is new stuff in old places because we beat another boss, we put another emerald down, and we enabled more people to travel from world to world even without a plane. Anyway, I'm royally screwed up this part here, which is basically a hard mode of this segment in Rooftop Run, and we have to, for some reason, touch these two ghosts, which is a very, very goofy side quest. And this is not the only time we're going to have to do this while this ghost model flies to the side. I screwed it up the first time because at this point here, you go from the hover fall into free fall, and if you free fall, then you can start air boosting, and as usual, the air boost just kills you. But in this case, everything worked out, and I managed to touch both of the ghosts. You have to touch both of the ghosts, otherwise you fail. And Mike Antonio is now happy, and I think he might have more quests either here or in a different country, but we will see about that. But first there is Brenda again, and we have to do some questions for if we understood the story and the lore of the game, which, you know, I don't really like doing this too much, but at the very least I don't make any mistakes here because I do pay attention while playing, so that's very nice. And you can actually, if you watch these cutscenes, if you pay attention, the hardest thing for me is basically which color the last emerald I used, because I'm not paying that close attention to the cutscenes, but it generally works out. I checked for a few levels, but we're going to do this next time. This is only side quests. Here is Mauro, by the way. I kept missing him, and he is here in the daytime. I can't find him at the nighttime, and I couldn't figure out anything to do with him and the lady he's pranking all the time. But now what we can do is a side quest that I skipped last time, which was unlocked before the actual level. As I've mentioned, we can now play a hard mode version of a chunk of Rooftop Run, and this is not a small chunk. This is a 4-minute timer level, and it is actually going to require about 3.5 minutes with average gameplay by yours truly. And you don't get any checkpoints here, so when I press the wrong button here, I die and have to restart the entire thing. That's 2.5 minutes of gameplay wasted, but you know what, Rooftop Run is fun, so it's not that like I can complain too much. And of course, again, you can do it a little bit better, but here I'm actually kind of glad that I had to redo this first part, because otherwise I would have missed this moon medal and went like, where the hell is it? But fortunately you can always replay side quests, by the way, and they are not replayable by going to the people again, because their dialogue will update. They are actually in the level select list from the world map, so that's nice. Here is another hard mode addition. These guys with the shields are now blocking you, very rude. And as you're going to see from my gameplay here, I'm actually going to screw up a bunch of times because there is a lot more traps. Like here, these spike strips are not screwing up here, but you saw on the roof more spikes there. Lots of more things to impede your progress, try to slow you down, which is of course in the idea of this being a more difficult side quest and a shorter segment, which you have to be a little bit better at. But also, honestly, I think it is kind of annoying. And this is what a lot of the hard modes in previous Sonic games also have the distinction of being, where it's like, yeah, okay, so this is a little bit harder, I guess, but mostly it is just slowing me down, making the gameplay flow worse, because now there is an extra spike strip like here, which you couldn't see coming, and it wasn't there before, so it's not like you can know that. And then the level just becomes worse by becoming ostensibly a little bit harder. Still don't have the light speed dash. So I am honestly very glad that there is no true hard mode for Sonic Unleashed where you have to replay the entire level, but now there's spike strips everywhere, because that's not very creative, right? But for a side quest like here, where you have the distinction of no checkpoints, some more difficult parts, but not the whole level, right? This is not the whole level. It's missing a part at the start, but it is actually going to go all the way to the end. It's one of the longer ones, but mostly these ones are like very short, as we're going to see, 1.5 minute segments, which are a lot harder than the original stages. Case in point. Sometimes a little more annoying, but that's fine, right? This doesn't need to be amazing, and they are unranked, so you don't have to perfect these, you just have to get to the end. So I'm generally overall quite happy with how this is set up and how this is done, even though, as I said, you're going to see me struggle a little bit here. Now I'm actually finishing this, and there is no more spring to push me further, so this didn't actually do anything for me. Great. Anyway, we are now in the final stretch, and as you can see, we only have a little bit over a minute left to do this, so there is actually a strong incentive to not dawdle. I don't know what hit me. There is spike strips here in the middle and also lots of holes here, but fortunately my reflexes were fast enough so that I didn't have to redo the entire thing. But you can probably tell why I wanted to skip this before doing the actual rooftop run, because we are now would have gotten a preview of basically 2/3 of the entire stage, but harder. Which would have been really weird, right? So again, I think they shuffled the order of a few things around, did some of the side quest update triggers a little bit badly, because really this should not be available before you do actual rooftop run. It makes no sense whatsoever. Anyway, 24 seconds to spare, and we have reached the other child. Remember the first one, we got up to the clock tower to find him behind the door there at the night, and now we have gotten to his sister and progressed this part of the story here with a little bit more dialogue and so on. This is all about food and eating, and we don't yet know why exactly the kids are doing that, but maybe we'll find out when we talk to them. She's not. And I do like that they have a bespoke animation for her rubbing her stomach because she overate. Because apparently they want to steal food from her mom so that the mom doesn't eat so much because she's getting fat. Very interesting. I think it's kind of nice, like the childish naivete here. If that is the problem, like she's just eating too much instead of like not exercising or whatever. Anyway, as I said, Dora, no progress here, and I'm actually going to show off here that this is not a problem caused by spirits. She is not shy because of Dark Gaia influencing her in some way. No, she is just, that's the way she is, and we'll have to solve this with dialogue or a side quest later on. And Otto doesn't help again. I checked specifically because Otto was telling the other guy to help her cheer up, and yeah, that's not it. Anyway, this is going further as well with the boss. He needs to go to another meeting in Sammar. I guess at this point we don't have regular Zoom meetings. It is just 2008, remember? So he actually has to go there in person. This also means, because we don't have access to Sammar yet, we'll have to put this on hold until the next time. And now I'm going to Holoska for a stint to see if there is something here. And there in fact is Sammar from Sammar who wants to go to Sammar, but she has trouble finding her way, so we are just going to send her on her way, because she only realizes that she should move on when we talk to her for some reason. And here, of course, is the next story point. So the people here are mostly just talking about, oh yeah, there is something that we need to take care of. Sonar the hedgehog, and this doesn't help us much, but remember that Gigi wanted something that smells really bad, and here we have some fermented fish in a can, so that is exactly what we're going to get. And now we are moving on to the main part of this video, as that I could have cut here, for example, but then you wouldn't really have gotten much action except for the rooftop run part, because in Chun-Nan we have done the regular levels, both night and day, and this means that this is now kind of turned into a regular hub where the people now have their regular problems and don't constantly say, oh, you need to rescue the elder. And this means that a bunch of them have now unlocked side quests for us, and the side quests here in Chun-Nan are quite chunky. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking to some other side people, but we're also going to find out that something is happening in the night time. You probably can figure out what it is. By the way, I refilled the flashes, as you can see off screen. Just talk to the assistant and he just gives us full flashes, so that's fine. But the main part here is actually going to come from the village elder who we rescued, and he wants us to come back at night, so of course we're just going to do that real quick, which is, again, quick and easy with the skipped animation here. This is specifically why I chose to use this quicker PlayStation version, so that we don't have to watch the whole thing all the time, or me, and then cut it out. And anyway, now we're going to have to beat up a few enemies. Now that we are in Chun-Nan, obviously it's going to be a little bit more difficult than just beating up 5 bozos with barely any health, but still easy enough if you use your full moveset here, and I'm not actually going to struggle much here, fortunately, because I have a well upgraded hedgehog. Again, not going to use the charge-up attacks, but it's fine, it's going to be okay. We are using a chunk of Dragon Road here, which I don't think that we have seen actually. This seems like a side area which we might have gotten in the main path, but I don't actually remember this from the main level, so yeah, I'm interested to see if I replay it and can find it there, because this is like on the other side of the bridge at the end. Maybe. Anyway, beating up a few flowers, these small ones here, no problem whatsoever. Sincerely hope that this is also kind of as entertaining as the daytime levels, especially if I'm doing stuff like this, like using the really good skills that you do have at your disposal, and you yourself, if you think that this is boring and you don't like it, should also be using, because boy, if you do stuff like the drill, some of these encounters are over much quicker than you would think they need to be. So don't just stick to the kick punch combos. Some of these charge running attacks, they are really good, and I happen to remember this from the last time I played, that I almost accidentally did jump and long punch input, like Y, I think that is for the drill, and I just obliterated a pack of enemies more or less by accident. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good, isn't it? So it really pays off to upgrade that combat stat and then actually use those moves. Like this one, for example, I was also just like using the charge attack, this time the grounded X button charge attack, just beating up one of these guys from full health, no problem, of course, in unleashed mode, but still, that's not bad, because these spiky ones, they do have quite a lot of health and defense, even though I have kept up with upgrading. Even in unleashed mode, they still take quite a bit of punishment, as you can probably tell. So we keep going here with the next set of these guys. I'd never quite enjoy these. They are really annoying because they keep dodging and coming from off screen, but at least they are not the hornets like this guy here that does definitely also come from off screen and keep dodging. But the worst part about these small bozos is that there is always one left, and then he takes forever to die until you actually get credit for it. But it happened, it's dead. I didn't miss any medals, and this was over rather quick, wasn't it? So, we proved to the village elder that we are actually quite strong, and that now, using science, obviously, now that he has assessed our power level, we can keep going. But first, there was somebody who has some nighttime ailment, and who is apparently really good at Kung Fu. And believing that he is good at Kung Fu is obviously some sort of hallucination induced by Dark Gaia, so we need to exorcise Satan from his mind. This is also a mission that can be extremely annoying. I speak from experience when I first played this back in the day, because wow, I had to redo this a few times. But I am much better using aerial attacks now. I am a lot better at dealing with the hornets. It's still going to be a little bit close, because those red hornets, they don't screw around. They do a lot of damage. As I said, they tend to come from off screen, like here. This dealt like, I don't know, easily over 10th of my health bar, so this can come, this can sum up real quickly. Add up. And even if they are falling down, you can't easily grab them. So you basically, if you want to critical attack them, you have to wait for them to stand back up and then do the critical attack input, which always annoys me to no end. I think if you are quick enough with your follow-up input from the grounded state, then you can throw them around or punch them or whatever, but it's a little bit annoying again. And so this is where the engine kind of struggles with its own limitations, basically. It tries to give you more options, and it is somewhat internally consistent, but overall could be better. This is also, I think, one of the first instances where I'm actually going out of my way to collect rings just for health, because I did notice that I was getting a little bit low. And fortunately we can now clean the house here a little bit with some unleashed juice, because I really don't want to deal with these guys here, the wizard and all of the hornets. So again, don't forget that you have this It's Quite Good, because by this point we have a lot of AoE abilities that are not just swinging our arms around wildly. We can do these very, very wide combo attacks here, bread and butter. We can do the running attacks, which cover a surprising amount of ground. I could have backstepped here, but I don't think this would have been healthy for me, because, you know, one thing that truly does annoy me is that I am getting quite good at using the Shoryuken, inputs like this, but it is surprisingly difficult to follow that up. Here you could see that I could actually swing it around and it didn't escape my grasp. Alas, somebody came from off screen, and now I'm going to use the shield while I'm waiting for the camera to show me what's actually going on. But anyway, the Shoryuken input often gives me this time slow effect, yes, but I actually would rather prefer to grab the enemy instead of having the time slow. And so you basically have to, before the time slow kicks in, showing you this cool animation of him doing this awesome input. Before that happens, you have to press the grab button to actually slam the enemies into the ground. And that's a bit annoying, and that's a bit inconsistent again, because it depends on your positioning towards the enemy. It can be made consistent, it is dependent on what you're doing, but it doesn't really feel like it, and it's one of the parts where the hedgehog gameplay is just not that good. But I do admit, this is one of those things where it's quite unique to the game. This kind of grabbing and then slamming down the enemy, you don't see that often in other types of this game. There are of course some aerial attacks. There you can, in God of War, throw enemies upwards, then grapple them down, slam them into the ground. But the specifics of this wrestling move stuff, don't see that often. You have launchers and Devil May Cry, and then you can beat up the enemy in the air. But I feel like this specific implementation, this combo system that we have here, is actually something that Unleashed came up on its own. And I've gotta give credit where credit is due. It is a blatant clone for 99% of it, but some of it is actually quite nicely done and unique. So, this level here, it's not very difficult, even though I couldn't see the spike strip here, because I was going down and Sonic was blocking it. Again, the hard mode-ish additions are not actually that fun most of the time, but overall this one here is completely trivial. A lot of these things where you have to collect just a bunch of things, they are actually over as soon as you collect them, and there is so many more than you actually need in the level that you can basically miss like 20 of them, and then suddenly you're just like, oh, that was it? Oh, okay, there is basically no challenge here, which is a bit sad, because I mean the level continues, right? There's probably more level design at distance, but honestly I'm not going to show off every single side quest mission, deliberately dodging all of the stuff that you have to collect just to see the full extent of the level design. It's fine, like you can replay it if you really want to, but there is no specific incentive in game whatsoever for that. Anyway, so he is flustered, but he will actually have another side quest for us, as we're going to see later on. For now, however, there is more to do with the medicine. I ran around a little bit more to see if there is other stuff to be had, but no, the best thing to do is to go to him later on. But for now, short hop over to Mazuri, because the shop here has updated, and also we need a second thing from him, which is actually the broiled ibanga. I wasn't super sure because I'm doing this by memory, and it was something like some sort of cooked food, and I was like, it was meat, right? It was meat. Yeah, Gigi wanted meat. So that's what we need to do here, and get this, and don't feed it to Chip, even though it is probably super tasty. I don't know if Chip likes it. He likes sweets mostly. And interestingly enough, Anna has now actually become available to have a side quest for us. I don't know exactly what the triggers for that are. I think maybe you need to talk to her once to set up that she has a problem, and then reload the area, talk to her again. Anyway, Essie probably is not what she's looking for, prince-wise. I don't know if Yaya has any other side quests. He doesn't have any specific dialogue, even though, I mean, maybe he is princely material, I don't know, but you don't actually have to talk to him, I'm pretty sure. So are there any other male NPCs here? Well, the elder has left, and with him another guy who might be available. The hot dog vendor, I mean, he's narrative material for sure. I mean, look at this guy. He's confident, healthy, knows how to cook, but that's not it. So this part is over really quickly, and that means that we can push Anna further to her next location, which we are going to see in a second. Actually, I'm going to do the second part of this side quest in a bit, because she has actually moved to Spagonia, as we're going to see in a bit. But for now, let's give Gigi what he wants. Yep, food. Yep, the canned horror. Make sure to open it underwater, which is the way it's meant to be done. And don't do it in your car and film yourself for the internet. But he's happy with it, so that's great. She is not. I have nothing to do with it. And we keep going here, and who do I spot here but the quiz lady? Oh boy, isn't that great? So I do actually still, in fact, hate the pop quizzes, but yeah, let's keep going here. See a few of these questions. Aida is a jeweler. Yep, that's fine. Who wears a hat? I have no earthly clue. You always wear a hat, but yeah, I had to just guess here. I don't know these people enough. So this is failed for now. So I'm going to redo it. Maybe get a different question this time, or luck into the correct answer. So let's try this here. And actually, as we saw before, but just to reiterate, she has a pool of, I think, something like 10 questions and answers, and she always picks 5 of them. Whew. Got the correct one here. Otto, in brackets, headmaster of the dormitory, is obviously Otto, the headmaster of the dormitory. And there we go. We have finished another one of the quiz lady once again. She's going to be in every single country. And who do we have here if not Anna, as I just told you about? She is still searching for the prince. There is a bunch more NPCs here, but fortunately she is telling us to actually not look for kids or old guys, which narrows it down a lot. However, we are actually going to disappoint her, because I am getting distracted by a different side quest, and if you accept a side quest while something like that is running, that counts as not being within a day or something. And yeah, this one here has now also progressed, and now Chichio is in on the action. And this is what I'm doing here, getting 10 oranges, again similar to what we just did in Chun-Nan, I thought, at the very least. But as we're going to see, it's actually going to be a little bit more involved. And here we start at the very start of Rooftop Run, so this is repurposing a different part of the level. And I'm actually failing it because, you know, hard mode, there is more spikes, there is more enemies. It's actually kind of annoying, and I am going to play really badly here. So don't mind me, but you don't have to play perfectly to get all of these oranges. I'm actually like deliberately slowing down here at the start, because first of all, the shield guys do slow down for you, and also I want to get all of these melons that I saw pass me by, all of the round things on the bottom, on the ground, which I noticed that I had missed. So now I'm already halfway through, more than halfway through, so I'm hoping to finish this a little bit early before I run into many more spike strips like these ones on the side, like this one here. This is mean, right? This is actually kind of annoying sometimes. And oh, there is one down there. Can I get that? Because actually deliberately going back is a little bit annoying, because the level does want to push you forward. It is, after all, Rooftop Run is designed to keep you going. Very nice. Anyway, 9, almost done, almost done. And oh, I jumped over one, but there is one here. 10. Oh, the level continues. Oh, this one you actually have to finish. Oh, that's interesting. Now we have 11 out of 10. Cool. So yeah, the rules for these side quests are actually kind of inconsistent. Sometimes you finish them immediately after getting all of the required items, and sometimes you have to get a minimum item count and then finish the level. So now I'm actually, because I was going so slow, under a relatively significant time pressure. Please don't watch this. This is so embarrassing. I'm doing so badly here, but I am reacting as fast as I can. It's just like there is all of these extra mines and stuff here, and they are making this a lot more annoying and, you know, difficult. Yes, harder, but the flow is now completely ruined, as I've been hinting about all the time, but you can really see it in this segment. This was awful, not fun, too bad, but at very least I got it, and you know, I could now replay it and learn it and show it off super well, but what's the point, right? We have seen everything we need to see here, and for now the side quest chain I could not further progress, or at the very least I didn't want to keep reloading Spagonia. There's definitely some that are possible that I'm leaving on the table, but don't worry about it, as that eventually we're going to do them all. I do think that David is a kid, pretty sure, but he still has a unique response to this, so I mean, he was kind of considering it, maybe. But yeah, let's ask all of the other guys. He does not react, in fact, because he is an old guy and he is not always here, so maybe he's going to move on or go back to Apotos later on. And as I said, these side quests are completable at any point. You don't need a specific cast of characters to be here, so it can only be the ones that are actually Spagonian residents all the time. And of course the married man doesn't react. Again, the kids have their own dialogue. It is a problem. But yeah, so there are not actually that many people to ask. Like when I first was like, I have to go through this entire huge hub world to have to ask Professor Pickle. But no, actually that was all. These are not that many people to ask. So she's going to move on again to Sammar. So we have already set up at least 2 side quests in Sammar and 1 person who wants to move to Sammar, but probably she's not immediately going to go there. And we have progressed enough here, went out and back again, that Sunshine has actually prepared our medicine, and now we have to do a no-hit run, 40-second time limit. And I do remember this one from the first time I played, and I have been hinting at that when I first played the level, that I do know this part of the level quite well, because this mission, oh boy, it's a doozy. This one is really hard. I am going to die here a lot, and I'm going to show off most of the deaths, because as you can see here, one minor slip up of a lot more added mines in a hard mode version here. At a no-hit challenge, well, you're dead, and you cannot take this slow. It's 40 seconds. That's not much. This is a really quick run that you have to do here, and I have to get my bearings here, figure out how to best do it. Well, first of all, I'm trying to get to the top here because it seems a little bit safer, right? But I missed the rings now, and for some reason I am also not getting the full mercy invincibility of the homing attack here. And then we have stuff like this where I'm running into ship 1 and then ship 2, and this kills immediately. This has nothing to do with a no-hit challenge, but you know, just adding this. Did get the medal here, so we don't have to worry about that. Can I make it past the robot? Yes, that's nice. Up here, keep going. So this is new, we haven't seen this yet. Now we're inside here, and oh, the robot blocked my view of the mine and I got hit there. And then I'm going to bump into every single part of the first part of the level, and I'm going to get hit here. And you know, it's a grand old time. But now we are actually on the roof, and oh, there's a spiked strip there. Good, I saw that, so we can continue here. How do I make it up here? Jump at the peak of our jump, and there's another spike strip here. Cool, almost made it. There is a goal in the background, as you can see. But we are still not done with failure, because, as I said, this is a pretty difficult mission. You actually have to string quite a lot of inputs together. And here I make it. That's nice. Very good. Jump over the spring. For some reason get hit here. I don't know what happened. This was perfect, actually. Like, I panicked because I thought the spring was actually another obstacle. But it would have still been fine, but I didn't go over the enemies and somehow got hit. Cool. Anyway, how about this? Oh, well, I didn't expect that to happen. Maybe I should have just stomped down, I guess, to get to the grind rail on the roof, but yeah, well, anyway, this is again something that can happen. I always thought these guys are just decoration, but no, they also can hit you. If you're a little bit slow at the start, they will activate early enough to hit you with their range attacks. But this is now finally the winning run. It's like 10th attempt or something. Like, it's not that bad, it's just 40 seconds, but it's surprisingly difficult and a huge step up in comparison to what we've seen me do before, where I was failing a lot in the hard mode versions, but they weren't, you know, I wasn't punished for it. I could still finish them. But this one here, oh yeah, actually you do get punished. And here again, should have stomped a little bit earlier, but fortunately robots didn't turn around, so I can awkwardly shuffle into the goal, conquer this And I'm quite happy about this because, as I said, this took quite a lot of time. But I was still not super satisfied because I was like, oh yeah, but we still have like something going on here. This is not completely finished. And as I said, it is fun to play this game, so I couldn't wrench myself from the gamepad, and I just wanted to see, like, is there anything going on with Shuifon? And actually there is. He actually has a side quest for us, and he actually is a Kung Fu master, so that's interesting. He just was being too intense about it due to Dark Gaia's influence, I don't know. Anyway, another short level, 1.5 minutes, and I actually didn't realize what the objective is. You're going to see this as I do my first try here. I am not actually going to kill the enemies, because if you glimpse to the top left, there is a counter for killing enemies, and I'm pretty sure it said that at the start as well, but I just didn't notice because I was just going with the flow, and I have been playing for about an hour at this point. As I said, I cut out a few things, so I just didn't realize it, that this is actually a kill enemy mission. And we are doing this again, so this is a large chunk of the level. Obviously we have a higher time limit, but at very least now I know how to do this, right? So that's fun. You can probably expect more enemies to be on the roof. Here we actually have a new level design element, so this is a different kind of hard mode. There are still a bunch of explosions here, and there is still some spikes at the end. There is this very annoying part where you have to wait every time. It's really, really bad. I hate it. But yeah, anyway, we keep going here. Then we are now in the new part, which we didn't have before. Still no light speed dash, but you don't need it. You can just do an air boost here, so that's nice. Very rude, very rude. Keep going here. And now at this point I'm like, wait a second, I'm 15 seconds off and 22 enemies. Here's a few. No light speed dash. This really hurts here at this point, because you can do it, of course, but it's much, much slower. And at this point I'm like, oh yeah, this is not going to work out, because there is one more enemy here. We don't see it, but there is one. And yeah, this just didn't work. And here I'm just doing the wrong thing entirely, going to the wrong sides and screwing this up a little bit, just showing off that this is just not trivial in general. Yeah, there is just playing this part here can also get you killed, but the biggest challenge that you have here is definitely the enemies. And here I'm like, wait a second, there's guys up here. This doesn't actually help you progress in the level, right? It's definitely faster to just stay on the rails, but they put those here to bolster your enemy count, because going through here, hitting every single one of these robots, not trivial, like these two here, easy to miss, of course. Getting the lines correct here to hit all of them, very difficult. You can probably finish this a little bit faster, because this level does in fact finish when you hit 30 enemies, and here just screwing up the boost for some reason. Weird, happens. But in general, I am now at a high enemy count, so let's see if I dawdle too much. But generally the level is definitely set up for you to seek out enemy nests. You need to do that so that you can kill enough of them. And let's see how it goes. We go up here, 20 seconds. This guy for some reason hit me backwards. I don't know, do this move that is really annoying and dumb, but yeah, you do 2 ground inputs without moving, and Sonic does his weird breakdance move from Sonic 06. Very nice. We know there is one more enemy up here, but we don't have the light speed dash. And maybe if we had the light speed dash, this would have been enough, but it is not enough. We failed here at the end. Now let's see. Obviously I'm not cutting to a full run, so again, there is parts here where you can fail. Now I'm back at the end again. 3 seconds left, 2 seconds left, 1 second left. There is one more enemy and I couldn't reach it, but we would have needed 2 more enemies. And I can tell you already, there is just not more enemies. You know that the breakdance move locks you in place for a little bit. I could not actually get out of this. Fun. Anyway, let's keep going here, and I'm like, okay, there's 20 seconds left, and I'm not gonna make it. What's over here, actually? Because there's more stuff in the background. I did notice it. I'm like, oh, here's an entirely different part of the level, and we are skipping all of that. It's interesting. That's very interesting for the S rank of this video, for of this level, which I will eventually do. For the side quest, we now have confirmation. Level ends after there. There is nothing more. We have to get to 30 enemies by the point we reach the final one. Also, by the way, the rings to the side, I don't know if there is any way to even go up these and not just completely fail immediately at the start. It's a choice to start the level there, and it's a little bit annoying that I always have to do these first 20 seconds in the exact same way, because the level truly only starts here with the optional flying enemy pack over the grind rails. Everything else is just you're always going to do the same thing. I basically was watching a video on the side at this point and just blindly tapping the homing attack button, which is not great, you know, after the 10th time. But whatever, anyway, I missed a few enemies here. Let's see if I can get on the roof. Wonderful, because there are 3 free enemies here. I don't need to get this bottom one. Great, I missed the second jump here because, you know, at some point, again, I've been playing for an hour. It's my reflexes are not the best anymore. I probably shouldn't have played this level, but, you know, it was fun and I wanted to do it. At this point, however, I'm definitely fatigued from high-octane Sonic gameplay all the time. Whatever. I am going to make it this time, don't worry. I think to get safely to the other enemies back there, you actually have to drop with a platform, jump off before you fall into the water, but it's fine. Here is always a bit of a nail biter until you actually reach the next enemy, and here we go. 31 out of 30 enemies, because I killed them too quickly before the level could wrest control from me. And we have finally also cleared this challenge, and it was a challenge. And I do like that some of these side quests are like, yeah, just do like a 10-second thing, it's fine, just fall down somewhere, touch 2 ghosts, it's okay. And then there are some that are like, oh yeah, you gotta work for this, this is difficult. And I do really enjoy the variety here, and I hope you also enjoy the variety of this very long video. Thank you very much for your attention.